Please, just pretend you love me for 5 minutes. The trembling young woman clutched the sleeve of a billionaire CEO she had never met before, her eyes filled with tears as the man who had shattered her heart stood only a few steps away, smiling beside the wealthy woman he had left her for. Every guest at the crowded charity gala stopped talking. Cameras turned toward them. Some expected the CEO to pull his arm away in disgust. Instead, he looked into the stranger's frightened eyes, saw genuine desperation, and quietly wrapped his arm around her shoulders. In that single moment, 3 broken lives began moving toward a future none of them could have imagined. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share this story with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel. Every act of support helps our community continue sharing stories that remind us compassion can change lives. Clara Bennett had never imagined her life would fall apart so quickly. Only a year earlier she had believed she was building a future with the man she loved. She worked 2 jobs to help support his dream of opening a marketing company, believing every sacrifice would one day become part of their shared success. Instead, the moment the company attracted wealthy investors, he slowly disappeared from her life. His excuses became colder, his calls became shorter, and one sunny afternoon he admitted he had fallen in love with someone from a far wealthier family. He walked away without looking back, leaving Clara with unpaid bills, a tiny apartment, and a heart full of questions. Despite everything, Clara refused to become bitter. She accepted a position as a catering assistant, determined to rebuild her life one day at a time. It was difficult serving smiling guests at elegant events while silently carrying heartbreak, but she reminded herself that dignity was worth more than revenge. One afternoon her company was assigned to an exclusive charity gala hosted by Ashford Global Industries. Clara spent hours arranging tables and serving drinks before suddenly freezing in place. Standing across the ballroom was her former boyfriend, Preston Hale, proudly introducing his glamorous fiancée to influential business leaders. His expensive suit, confident smile, and effortless laughter made it seem as though he had never known struggle. Preston noticed Clara almost immediately. His expression wasn't filled with guilt. It was amusement. He casually whispered something to his fiancée before both of them laughed while looking directly at Clara. Although she couldn't hear every word, she clearly understood enough to know they were mocking her appearance and her simple uniform. Humiliation rushed through her like ice. She quietly slipped outside onto the sunlit terrace, fighting tears she refused to let anyone see. At that same moment, Rowan Mercer, the CEO hosting the event, stepped outside to escape the endless conversation surrounding business deals and investments. Despite his enormous success, Rowan often felt isolated. Most people admired his wealth rather than knowing the quiet, thoughtful man behind the title. As Clara hurried toward the exit, she accidentally collided with him. She apologized repeatedly, embarrassed and overwhelmed. Then she glanced back through the glass doors. Preston and several guests were watching. Panic overtook her. Without thinking, she softly whispered the words that would change everything. "Please, act like you love me. Just for a few minutes." Rowan could have walked away. Instead, he noticed something beyond the tears. He saw genuine pain. Without asking unnecessary questions, he smiled warmly and placed his arm gently around her shoulders. Together they walked back inside. The ballroom instantly fell silent. Guests assumed they were a couple. Preston's confident smile disappeared. His fiancée looked equally confused. Rowan greeted everyone naturally before introducing Clara as someone whose kindness impressed him far more than titles or wealth. He spoke with sincere respect, making sure she never felt small again. For the first time in months, Clara felt seen instead of judged. When the event ended, Rowan simply offered his business card and said that if she ever needed career advice, she should contact him. There were no promises. No hidden expectations. Only kindness. Several days later, Clara reluctantly accepted his invitation for coffee inside the company headquarters during lunch hours. She expected another formal executive, but instead found someone surprisingly humble. Rowan admitted that building a billion-dollar company had been easier than building genuine friendships. Success had surrounded him with admiration but very little honesty. Their conversations gradually became weekly meetings. Sometimes they discussed books. Sometimes family. Sometimes failure. Neither noticed how naturally trust replaced awkwardness. Meanwhile, Preston grew increasingly curious after discovering Clara frequently visited Ashford Global. Convinced she was manipulating Rowan for money, he began spreading false rumors among local business circles. He claimed Clara had always chased wealthy men and was pretending to be innocent. The gossip eventually reached Rowan. His legal advisors suggested quietly distancing himself from Clara to protect the company's reputation. Instead, Rowan decided to discover the truth personally. He visited the neighborhood where Clara lived. He spoke with elderly neighbors who described how she bought groceries for an elderly widow every weekend. He learned she secretly tutored struggling children at the local library during her free afternoons. He discovered she regularly donated part of her modest paycheck to an animal shelter. None of these acts had ever appeared online. She never sought recognition. That afternoon Rowan understood something important. Character reveals itself when nobody is watching. Rather than believing rumors, Rowan invited Clara to help lead the company's expanding charitable foundation. She hesitated, convinced she lacked experience, but Rowan reminded her that compassion couldn't be taught in business school. Working together transformed both of them. Clara introduced scholarship programs for working students. She organized emergency housing assistance for single parents. She insisted every project begin by listening instead of assuming. Employees admired her humility. Communities trusted her sincerity. Months later, the foundation became the company's proudest achievement. One afternoon, Preston unexpectedly appeared outside the foundation office. His own business had collapsed after dishonest financial practices destroyed investor confidence. The wealthy relationship he had chosen over Clara had ended as quickly as it had begun. For the first time, his confidence had disappeared. He apologized. Not because he wanted Clara back. Because he finally understood the pain he had caused. Clara quietly listened without anger. She realized carrying resentment had become heavier than the heartbreak itself. She forgave him. Not to erase the past, but to free her future. Watching from a distance, Rowan realized forgiveness required far greater strength than revenge ever could. As seasons passed, friendship slowly grew into love. There were no dramatic declarations. Only countless small moments. Sharing lunch after long meetings. Celebrating successful charity projects. Laughing during community events. Supporting one another through difficult decisions. Their relationship grew from respect before romance. Exactly as both of them needed. One bright afternoon, Rowan invited Clara to the community center built by the foundation's first major housing project. Hundreds of families gathered for its opening celebration. Children played across the gardens while volunteers planted flowers nearby. Standing before the crowd, Rowan thanked everyone who had made the project possible. Then he turned toward Clara. He admitted that on the day they met, he believed he was helping a frightened stranger. Instead, she had rescued him from a life where success had become more important than purpose. He asked if she would continue building that purpose beside him forever. With tears of joy shining in her eyes, Clara quietly accepted. The applause surrounding them wasn't for wealth. It was for two hearts that had found one another through kindness. Years later, people often assumed their love story began inside a glamorous ballroom. Only they knew the truth. It began with 5 desperate words spoken by someone who believed she had already lost everything. Those words became the beginning of a life she never imagined possible. Before this story ends, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment below and tell us, do you believe kindness is stronger than revenge, or would you have reacted differently in Clara's situation? If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, the people who truly change our lives are often the ones who choose compassion when everyone else expects judgment. Sometimes pretending to care for a single moment can become the beginning of the most genuine love story of all.